Thanks for tuning in. We got a lot to do. It's almost Yantiv, and we have some serious work to do. So let's sing a little bit. This is a very old Mickey Moshe Shiur niggun. Shlomo used to sing this niggun too. It's one of our favorites. My brother recorded it a few years ago. Olivia Gideonte. Thanks, Chevra. I'm sure you're giving beautiful harmony. I want to continue learning for the refuah shlema of Chaim Kramer, of Chaim Menachem ben Leah, who needs our continued tefillas, and we should believe in our tefillas as well. Bezrat Hashem. I'm hoping everyone's doing good. And I know that it's Erev Chag, and I know that there's a lot going on, but And we'll have time. We're going to be singing before Chag later, getting into Chag together. But to learn for Reb Chaim is very, very special. To sing one of Mickey Moshe's Nigunim is very special. But to go to the place that I hope we go to right now is very, very important to me. And I start off by asking mechila from everybody, because I think I'm going to make a lot of people uncomfortable, including myself. So this is it. It feels like the whole point of Leil Seder, the whole point of leaving Mitzrayim in the beginning was not only to get out of Mitzrayim. That's something that my wife, Baruch Hashem, taught so beautifully last night in the women's event in the name of Reb Shlomo, that the portion which describes us really leaving Mitzrayim starts off with the word Vayehi, which doesn't make any sense, because Vayehi is Lashon Tsa'ar. So when we're leaving Mitzrayim, why does it start off saying Vayehi? It should be Vehaya, that's Lashon Simcha. So we were learning last night that Vayehi B'Shalach Paro, Reb Shlomo said that all we wanted was just to get out of Egypt. And that's very painful. That's very sad. Because when the gates are open, what are you supposed to do? When you walk through them, you got to make them even wider. You walk through a gate that opens to you from Shemayim. How do you know if you know how to walk through a gate? You got to push it that far, even further, even wider, for more and more things. Because at that moment, the way that we usually understand saying thank you is like, okay, I'm saying thank you and I'm not going to ask for anything more because I don't want to be selfish. But the way that we say thank you by Abba and Shemayim is by acknowledging Ki imcha mekor chaim, mimcha hakol, everything is from you. Reb Nosson Breslover says, and we learned this earlier this year on the mountaintop by Reb Nosson, both by the women's trip and the men's trip, we learned that Reb Nosson says, when you ask Hashem for absolutely everything, anything in the world, that makes Hashem's kavod greatest. Because if you acknowledge that you need toothpaste, just as much as you need a refuah shlema from the same source, that means from the Ribono Shel is absolutely everything, everything, everything. So, Chavra, it's Shvi'i Shel Pesach tonight. And my dear friend Maoz Golom sent me something that we're going to look at in a second. Something that kept me up last night. I couldn't believe what I saw, because on the one hand, there was so many of thoughts that I have for many years, but on the other hand, I definitely wouldn't have the chutzpah to write it up the way that we're going to see something in a second. But let it be clear to us that this Shvi'i Shel Pesach, just like the Pesach was a Pesach never before, but this Shvi'i Shel Pesach, there's a very clear avoda. There's a very clear avoda that needs to be done. To leave Mitzrayim, I didn't have to really do that much, but to jump into the water, and then I have to do something. And the shaila is this year, what does that mean? It's true, it was true for every single year. But really, it's so shayach for this year. So the energy, I don't know how many of you saw some of Manis Friedman's amazing videos that he's been putting out recently. They're mamish to the point. They're calling us all out on what was this whole, im kol ze achakelo, things that you were saying for so many years. Where are you when it comes to your dreams? Where are you when it comes to your dreams? So when we first left Mitzrayim, there was a huge shift, which is what I want to talk about. There was a tremendous shift that we experienced from Leil Yetzias Mitzrayim to Shvi'i Shel Pesach. And that's what we're going through right now as well. And I hope that the following paragraph from Reb Shlomo will help us understand what it is. So you'll see in a second, Reb Shlomo says like this. Shlomo says, when we came out of Egypt, we thought the Exodus was over. We're out, right? But seeing Paro and the Egyptians chasing us instilled within us so much fear and confusion. Zot omeret, let's go into the mindset, into the heart of a Yidla. What was happening? He left. I'm out. And he's very confused. Wait a second. Doesn't really seem to me to be like freedom. Something's missing over here. I thought I was out, but I see paro. I see that these things that I thought that I was done with, I'm not done with. Only when the Egyptians drowned did we realize that God gave us freedom forever. Zatomeret. Leil Seder, I experienced something amazing. But during Chol HaMoed, I start to wonder, what is it that I just experienced? I'm not sure that this thing called Yetzias Mitzrayim actually happened. Something's lacking. Something's missing over here. I don't know what it is. So it only by Shvi'i Shel Pesach, Sus V'Rachlo Rama Vayam, I see the chariots. I see the Egyptians drowning. Oh, now I understand something. Okay. There's something called Cherut Olam. There's freedom forever. But what does that mean? When we came out of Egypt, Reb Shlomo says, we didn't have the concept of Mashiach coming. We didn't know that one day there will be redemption for the whole world. And I know that it's hard for us to understand this bichlal on any level, but to kind of like go into the headspace of a Jew that's leaving after 210 years of slavery. He gets out. The last thing that a Yidla thought about when he was leaving Mitzrayim was that there could be anything greater or bigger than this. Couldn't imagine there could be anything greater and bigger than this. And Mechila, this is where I already asked Mechila from everyone, because probably everyone that's learning with us right now is an Ole or is a future Ole or Ola. Part of what worried so many of the Hasidic Rebbes about the Zionist movement is exactly this. We thought that just by coming here to Eretz Yisrael, that's all we needed to do. Not everyone, obviously. But as many of you know, this is like a sensitive subject that I talk about all the time. So something changed, Reb Shlomo says, while we were crossing the waters. And Shvi'i Shel Pesach, my mindset, my dreams, what I want from my life became so much more than just stopping to be a slave. It's almost like Pesach without Shvi'i Shel Pesach is mamish nothing. It's nothing. What is it? David Sachs, we quote him every single year. David Sachs says so beautifully, freedom without direction is just another form of slavery. I love that line. I told him that I quote him all the time. When I saw him last year, I said, David, I quote that line all the time. Freedom without direction is just another form of slavery. He said, yeah, I got that from Reb Shlomo. So what changed? What changed while we were crossing Yam Suf? What changed? So look at this, Chaver. Shlomo says like this. And the Mefarshim speak about the following pasuk. When we crossed the Red Sea, we started speaking of the great day to come. Mikdash Hashem konenu yedecha. It's the first reference that we have as a people to Beis HaMikdash. It's the first time. Shvi'i Shel Pesach. Crossing the Yam Suf was this national transformation into a much, much deeper level of consciousness as a whole. When it says that each of us saw on the Yam Suf even what Yecheskel ben Buzi Hanavi couldn't see. What is that? What is it referring to? Is that maybe until that moment, a Jew's greatest dream and what he thought was the holiest thing in the world was to get away from an Egyptian slave master. And that was true until that moment, until the moment of leaving Mitzrayim. That's true until you leave Galut and you make Aliyah. But then when you come to Eretz Yisrael, then when you leave Mitzrayim, you have to cross the Red Sea in order to have a revelation that your dreams must be much, much, much bigger. Much bigger. I heard Reb Shlomo once say in the name of the Mekubalim that each person in the world, this is a very heavy statement, but it's just Inyane de Yoma, it's exactly where we're at. He said that each person, in the name of the Mekubalim, that he said, all of us, each and every one of us, We're going to have to keep on coming back down here, Gilgul after Gilgul after Gilgul, until we act on a Mesirut Nefesh, until we have some kind of Mesirut Nefesh episode in our lives where we either give our lives for God or we're willing to give our lives for God. We're going to have to keep on coming back, because essentially each neshama, each person, their tikkun is dependent on going through some type of action, whether it's in machshava or maaseh, that has to do with Mesirut Nefesh. So I can't define, none of us can define what that means literally for each person, because for each person it's different, obviously. However, and we can go away from the text right now. For each person, that means they must ask Hashem, please make it clear to me what Mesirut Nefesh is. Please make it clear to me what my Mesirut Nefesh is. Shvi'i Shel Pesach is the time to really tap into this on the level of tefillah, davening to Hashem, saying, Ribono Shel Olam, I know I've done some really cool things. I know I've done some amazing things. I know I've done some hard things. But if, God forbid, I don't want to have to come back here to this world over and over again. But Ribono Shel Olam, please, in the merit of Nachshon ben Aminadav, in the merit of Am Yisrael, please, please, please reveal to me what is the Mesirut Nefesh I need to go through today. What is it? It seems so confusing. Is Mesirut Nefesh today not going to visit my parents, not having my children visit their grandparents? Of course, that's Mesirut Nefesh. But Ribono Shel Olam, we also believe there's something deeper going on right now. But unless I cry out to you to understand what it is, unless I jump into water, I won't know what I'm supposed to be Moser my Nefesh for. I won't know what it is. So, having said all that, we sent out the title of this shiur, sounding like one of the name of Rav Kahana's books, called Uncomfortable Questions for Comfortable Jews. I don't think anyone's so comfortable right now, so it's okay to get uncomfortable, even more uncomfortable. I don't know anyone that's actually comfortable with the mitziut, even if you are enjoying your quiet time. And I don't know. It doesn't seem to me that anyone's in a state of like, this is pretty ideal. This is pretty ideal, not especially when you have little kids. Yeah, this is pretty ideal. Not leaving the house and talking to every person that you love and care about other than immediate family through a screen. And not davening with a minyan and not having any idea, bichlal, where things are heading. There's nothing ideal about this situation. So every one of us is placed in a situation that's uncomfortable. And you didn't do anything wrong to deserve to be in this place. This is just the Ratzon of Hashem Yisbarach right now. My friends from Moshav Modi'in, Hashem should bless them. Their situation of being in an uncomfortable place, they started a while ago. They started already a while ago, going to this zone of uncomfort, right? So the shaila is right now, what do I do from this place? Min ha-meitzar karasika. We've mentioned so many times that the worst thing in the world will be is if they take off this seger and we go right back to shul, and we're just so happy to get back to shul that we don't ask for more. So what is the more that we're going to ask? So I want to look at a letter with you. This is a letter that I mentioned before. Many of you know our dear friend Leah Golom. So Leah Golom's son Maoz, one of my old dear friends, sent me this letter that was written by a pediatrician on his yeshuv. He lives somewhere in the northern Israel. He sent me this as a lung specialist for children. And he said, I read this. I thought this was like one of the Gedolei Hador. He said to me, no, it's a doctor that just his heart is open. I am just posing the following thing. I am not on the level, bichlal, to dictate to anybody but myself the following notion. But this is where my heart is at. And I have a sense that it's where many of your hearts are as well. And I also know that we're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for some greater calling of leadership to pave the way for us so that we can just follow orders, which would be so much easier. It'd be so much easier. I don't know who Nachshon ben Aminadav turned to in order to get the okay to jump into Yamsuf. I don't know. I'm also not saying I'm not saying to anybody, this is what everyone should be doing. But I have to just tell you that when I want to have a moment of being real with Hashem, there's so much in the following letter that speaks my heart. And that's what I wanted to share with you. So we'll read it all together. As you can see, the title doesn't lead you to be misled at all as to the energy of this letter. Higia hazman livnot et Beit HaMikdash. It's time to build the Beis HaMikdash. בתוך המהומה והמבוכה של האנושות עם התפשטות נגיף הקורונה, in the midst of this upheaval, of this very, very confusing situation that all of humanity is in, with the spreading of this virus, מתגלים במציאות דברים שלא ניתן להתעלם מהם. There are things that are coming up to the surface in our reality that you simply cannot ignore. You can't ignore it. אין לנסות להפחית בעוצמה המטלטלת שלהם ובחשיבותם. There's no point to try to minimize how powerful and how important what's going on in the world today is telling us. There's no point in saying, no, al tagzimu, don't be a drama queen. No one's being a drama queen. The whole world has changed. No one's being a drama queen. Aleph, האנושות כולה עומדת מול מצב חדש. Humanity, in its entirety, is standing before a new reality, shona lachalutin, a completely different reality. Lo tzafui was an unexpected reality. Meshana sidrei chayim min hayesod, it changes the basic nature of life in its foundation. Shinui be'otzma adira, a tremendously powerful change. Shenogea bizman echad bechol ha'enoshut, that at the same moment, like we said before, touches upon all of humanity. Can you imagine, Chevra, go back, I mean, it's hard to remember this, but 6 months ago, it was Sukkot, right? 6 months ago was Sukkot. Go back 6 months and a week ago to Yom Kippur. When you were talking about Berosh Hashanah Yikatevun, Ubiyom Tzom Kippur Yichat, Kama Ya'avrun, Mi B'mayim, Mi Ba'esh, let's be honest, did any of us have the faintest idea that what is going on in the world would be going on? Now, I just want to raise our awareness for a second. In Eretz Yisrael, as painful as I believe it's close to 120 people have passed away from the Nagif. I don't remember. Especially this week, we lost the former chief rabbi, Rav Bakshi Doron Zecher Tzadik V'Kadosh Livracha. What's going on in the United States of America is petrifying. It's petrifying. The numbers are mounting up by the day. The numbers in communities of people that have longed for Mashiach to come, that are dying, is very, very concerning, very, very scary. It does not allow us to just close our eyes and hope that we just get through this. All of the Enoshut has been affected by this. Could any of us been under the assumption that when we were davening Yom Kippur, that this is what we were up against? Can't be. So in the end of this first Aleph, he continues and he says over here, Erua kazeh, b'sha'a she'anoshut krova l'si ha'itpatchut ha'technologit, something of this magnitude, at a time where humanity is closest to the peak of all technological developments, v'hafcha me'ein kfar katan echad, has changed the whole world to some little, like a small remote village. Lo haya b'historia ha'enoshit me'az mei hamabul. What happens to you when you hear those words? That what we're going through right now has not taken place in humanity since the time of Noach. This has never happened before. Now, if on Yom Kippur someone was going to tell you, listen to me, you're about to experience something that never happened before since the time of Noach, what would you do? How do you think you would react? What would be your gut response to such a magefa? This is, I'm saying, if someone would ask us before the fact. Now we're already in it, so it's a little bit different. But I think our answer, it'd be a much different answer. Now, let's go deep inside. That was the Enoshut, but now let's go to Am Yisrael. Bet. בעם ישראל קורה דבר שלא היה מאז חורבן בית המקדש את הראשון. This is... This is very heavy. I'll be honest, it's not heavy to me personally. I'm so honest, it's not sad to me. It's just heavy. But he's saying that in Am Yisrael, something has taken place that hasn't happened since the destruction of the first temple. HaKadosh Baruch Hu zorek et amo mi beit hakneset. There are no shuls. We've been thrown out of shuls. We've all been thrown out of shul by the Ribono Shel Olam. Hashem has thrown us out of all shuls. Zarak et amo mi batei midrash. Hashem threw us out of Beis Medrash, me'akriya b'Torah, from laning, u'mitfila b'tzibur, and from davening together. מי שדימה לעצמו שבית הכנסת הוא תחליף נצחי לעבודת השם במקדש, נזרק מבית הכנסת. This line is a dagger. Whoever thought to himself that a shul is a permanent substitute to a Beis HaMikdash has been chucked out of shul. Now that line actually makes me very, very happy. Because when we say that everything is changed, what does that mean? That we're just going to be more cautious? That we have more awareness of germs and viruses? I don't think that's what it means. Or at least I'm praying from the deepest depths of my heart that that's not what it means. But it means something else. This person is saying that Ribono Shel Olam looked at every person who stopped dreaming about the Beis HaMikdash and said to him, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Hashem looked at every single person. They got really comfortable in his makom and shul. Really comfortable. I got my svarim set up. I love this minyan. We have the best nigunim here. We dance so good over here. Hashem looked at every one of us that got so comfy in shul. said, Rabosai, זה לא מעניין אותי כל כך. זה לא זה. It's a famous statement by Reb Nachman Breslover. Reb Nachman says to his Hasidim, he says, נכון, אתם אנשים כשירים, אך לא לזאת הייתה כוונתי. It's true, he once turned to his Hasidim after they were with him for many years. He says, yes, you're all kosher Yidden. It's true, but that wasn't my point. That wasn't my purpose. רציתי שתהיו כמו חיות הנוהמות ביער לילות שלמים, Reb Nachman says. What I wanted from you is that you should be like howling animals in the yard, in the forest, throughout the night. That's why I showed up on the scene, Reb Nachman says. Yeah, you're kosher. Your shul was halachically, not only halachically 1,000,000%, even spiritually, it was beautiful. But Sheibana Beis HaMikdash Meher B'Yameinu was just something that you made sure you didn't forget at the end of Shmona Esrei V'Tulo, and not more than that. And that's why the author of this letter says, whoever imagined himself that shul is a permanent tachlif, a permanent substitute for serving God in the Beit HaMikdash, God says, Lihit Ra'ot, brother. Tzibur shehishla atzmo, shenitan leistapek lenatzeach, במלמול או שיר של הבקשה לחזרת העבודה בבית המקדש נזרק מתפילה בציבור. A tzibur, a congregation that lived in an illusion. They led themselves to an illusion that it's enough to speak about ותחזינה עינינו בשובך לציון ברחמים רצה השם אלוקינו בעמך ישראל ולתפילתם שאי והשב את העבודה לדביר ביתך. It's crazy. This person is saying people that really even had a deep kavana, but they were satisfied with just having kavana with that tefillah. Mimkomcha Malkeinu Sophia. I got to Mimkomcha, and since Reb Shlomo died, now there's like, when the Chazan does Oy Mihimkomcha, it's so high, it's so gewalt, I'm so in the Shamayim. No. The words in Mimkomcha is Masai Timnoch Betzion Bekarav Biyameinu Leolam Va'et Tishkon. Recently, someone asked me, they said to me, Shlomo, do you think we're still going to have Mimkomcha when Mashiach comes in the davening? And I punched myself in the face. I was like, wow. For years now, this is the first time someone's made me think about Mimkomcha properly. Not loving the nigun of Mimkomcha, not connecting to the words, but thinking about it in a realistic situation. מי שחושב שאפשר להסתפק בכותל המערבי, נזרק גם משם. And whoever thinks that whoever thought the kotel was enough, he's chucked out of there also. You can't even daven at the kotel, unless you're the ambassador of the United States, but that's another story. You can't even really daven there. The Sarid Beit Mikdashenu. So he continues. הרבה נאמר ונכתב בניסיון להבין ולתאר את המשמעויות והשינויים הצפויים. So much has been written and spoken about in an attempt to understand, to describe the meaning of all these changes that we've been going through and that we are atit to go through and that we're going to be going through as well. הרבה תהליכים חיוביים יכולים לצמוח ממשבר. We all know that tremendously great and positive processes can definitely sprout out from a situation that we're in, from a mashber that we're in. אבל צריך להודות. But here's the thing, and this is so important because it's, I don't know, I'm not turned on by anyone saying, do you see how much chesed is going on in the world? We've had so many catastrophes that have brought us together. We know how to come together as people. We know it. When the 3 boys were kidnapped, the achdut and the am peaked. So anyone that's saying, look, we know, so many positive things, so many things of chesed are coming out in the world. Yeah, it's true. But he's saying over here, tzarich leodot, but we have to admit, קורה כאן דבר שמשנה באופן יסודי ועמוק את כללי המשחק ברמת היחיד, המשפחה, הקהילה, הלאום והעולם האנושי כולו. But we have to admit that what's happening over here is changing the name of the game. It's changing the name of the game on every level, the individual, the personal level, the family unit level, the community level, the nation, and humanity at large. It's changing the game. The rules have changed. בולטת העובדה שהמשבר התחיל בחברה שלא מכבדת את איסור עבר מן החי, שהוא אחד משבע מצוות בני נוח. So let's just, it's funny. My oldest daughter, she's not watching now, that's why I'm saying this. She has gone on an anti-Chinese rant for the last few weeks, and it's killing her inside. She's mamish, because the second that she learned that the origins of this happened in China, she can't stop. She can't stop. Like every time she gets angry, I say, what's wrong? She says, Hasinim. The Chinese people. It's cute, but he's saying over here, let's stop for a second. Let's pay attention to what's going on. Where did this start? It started by a people who don't keep one of the 7 Noachide laws, which is not eating an Ever Min HaChai. That's where it started. צריך לחפש תשובה שחורגת מכללי המשחק הרגילים, שיש בה מהמשותף לכל בני האדם שנבראו בצלם אלוקים. He's saying, if this is the case, that this began as a result of someone from the non-Jewish world not keeping one of the basic Sheva mitzvot bnei Noach. He's saying amazing thing. He said, so we need to look at an answer An answer that's different than anything that we're used to. An answer that honestly makes you and I a little bit uncomfortable. Because we got to go, if the rules have changed, if what's happening now is affecting the world on levels it never did before, then the only way that we can be real with looking at it in the eye is thinking out of the box. It's thinking out of the box. So we're on to the next page. Now buckle up, because this is putting us in our place. יש דבר אחד בעולם שמשותף לעם ישראל. יש דבר אחד בעולם שמשותף לעם ישראל ולעולם כולו. There is one thing and one thing only that us, the Jewish people, and the whole world share in common. And what's that? Beit HaMikdash HaShlishi. The third Beis HaMikdash. Beit HaMikdash HaShlishi al Har HaBayit בירושלים. הוא אוניברסלי. זהו מרכז העולם. כל העולם צפוי להפנות את ליבו לשם. I want us to understand that just like Adam and Chava weren't Jewish, the Beis HaMikdash is for the whole world. I know it's not a concept that we're so accustomed to thinking. We don't really think in those terms, even though, yes, Ki beisi beis tefila yikra lechol ha'amim, but we generally just think about Am Yisrael when we think about the third Beis HaMikdash. Listen, he's saying, when you daven for the third Beis HaMikdash, you're davening for the whole world. You're davening la enoshut kula. You're davening for everybody. It's universal. It's the center of the world. All of the world is going to be turning their hearts to there. It's true that Muslims today turn their backs to there and they turn their heads to Mecca, but when Mashiach comes, that's going to change also. The whole world is going to change. Okay, so this person brought out a very clear picture, a very, very clear picture in terms of if we're all being affected by this, all of us, the whole humanity. Manis Friedman said a few days ago, actually the numbers have even jumped since then, he said he thinks he saw a natun, he saw a report that half the world is in quarantine. So if half the world is in quarantine, it means half the world isn't in quarantine, which means that the world is completely divided today. Sorry to break anyone's heart, but Zoom doesn't really end the hipardut, the separation. The whole world is suffering in a way it never suffered before. So we got to go out of the box. And like my dear friend, Rabbi Matityahu Brown said, that our gate into this was Purim. We went into this through a v'nahafochu. We went into this tkufa. The way it affected Am Yisrael and the world mamish at large, to the extent that it's affecting it today, was through Purim. So now this person, this doctor writing the letter, writes like this. Ani poneh lerosh hamemshala u'lesarav. I'm turning to the prime minister and to the ministers. And by the way, anyone that wants me to send this letter to them, I'll be more than happy. Please just send me a private message. Or go to the webpage, go to our webpage, the Shlomo Katz Project, and contact me through there. אני פונה לכל מי ששכלו וליבו פתוחים בכל העולם. I'm turning to anyone whose mind and heart are open wherever they are in the world. אני פונה לכל מי שכבול בקיבעון חומרני. This is amazing. I'm turning to anyone who is chained on any materialistic level. Ruchani. I'm talking to anyone who's just so set in their spiritual mindset. Rikshi, emotional mindset. Dati, religious, politically, egoisti, shachtzani, or antishemi. I'm turning to anybody. Mishe kavul betzarot ofakim, whoever is mamish, shackled up in such fear. Or bechol koshi amiti or medumeh, or in any type of constraint, whether it's real or it's not real. המציאות השתנתה. The reality has changed. יש תקווה. יש תיקון. יש עתיד. This would be a big tikkun for the party as well. There is hope. There is a fixing. There is a future. הגיע הזמן להתחיל בבניית בית המקדש. It's time to start building the בית המקדש. הקמת בית המקדש היא משימה לאומית אוניברסלית. Erecting the Beis HaMikdash and building it is a national universal mission. היא מסוגלת לעורר את כל הטוב שיש בעם ובעולם. The Beis HaMikdash has the ability to awaken all the good that we have in our people and in the world. You know, the Alter Rebbe speaks about a concept that's called ahava mesuteret. That means embedded love. What it basically means is love that you have in your heart. And the reason you daven Shachris with all the Psukei de Zimra, with the Brachas, Birkas HaShachar, Psukei Zimra, Shema, it's all to awaken the Ahava Mesuteret, the embedded love that exists within the heart and soul of everyone that might have gone shluffy a little bit. And we need to wake it up. That's how the Alter Rebbe says it. We have to wake it up. So this person is saying over here, you have to understand something. What would you do? What would you give in order to feel fully alive? Well, whatever you think you would do to give it, let me describe to you, he's saying, what that reality looks like a bit clearer to you. Building the Beit HaMikdash, the third Beit HaMikdash, this will waken up. The act of building it and its existence in the world will waken up all the place in you that you wish were awake. I've shared with you before that one year on Yom Yerushalayim, one of the years I had the privilege of playing with our dear soul brother, sweet singer of Israel, Chaim David, by the Kotel. I saw by the side of the Kotel was our dear friend Chaim Richmond, the former director of the Temple Institute. He should have a refuah shlema, not corona related, but he needs a refuah shlema, Reb Chaim Richmond. So I went up to Reb Chaim and I saw him looking at 100,000 people dancing by the Kotel. But obviously, we're on the wrong side of the wall. I'm sorry, Moshe Dayan, should rest in peace, but we've been on the wrong side of the wall since June 1967. Well, since way before then, but definitely then. So I turned to Chaim Richmond, and he had eyes. Chaim Richmond has eyes of the third Beis HaMikdash. So I said to him, tell me, Reb Chaim, what's the hardest day of the year for you? And I thought he would tell me either Yom Yerushalayim, or I thought he would tell me Tisha B'Av, because if he's like, if you're like a third temple kind of Jew, then those are probably the days that you probably look at what we don't have and it hurts you the most. He said to me, Yud Daled Iyar. Yud Daled Nisan. I said, why? He said to me, because we look, as the Jewish people, we look at Brit Milah as like a Yehareg Ubal Ya'avor. Like if you don't give a bris milah to your son, it's like you're killing him. It's like the worst thing in the world. And our greatest enemies are the ones that decreed against us the ability that they did not allow us to perform circumcision. That Brit, right? That's the worst thing in the world. But somehow, what got lost from our consciousness is that Brit Milah, on the level of its chumrah, of its stringency, is equal to bringing Korban Pesach. And bringing the fact that we can't bring Korban Pesach should have caused us each a cry like no other. Just like if you gave birth to a baby boy, if our wives, our mothers, if any woman here gave birth to a baby boy and you were told that your own government does not allow you to circumcise your child, can you imagine the uproar? But somehow, Amalek pulled himself into this mitzvah of Korban Pesach and kind of like has ne'elam, he like made it disappear from how important and how basic it is, how fundamental it is for our existence and for our true adherence to the Torah. So Reb Chaim Richmond told me, he says, Yud Daled Nisan, the day you're supposed to bring the Korban Pesach, that to him is the hardest day of the year. It had such an impression on me. So let's go back into this letter. He said over here again, Mesima kazot, תעורר את כל החיובי והטוב שיש בכל יהודי. this mission of getting together and building the third Beis Hamikdash would awaken the positive and good that exists in every single Jew. Ubechol adam, betiyeh gorem me'ached. It'll also awaken the good in every single person, and it'll be that gorem, it'll be that which brings the world together. And lehitpatot ulishtamesh b'milah achdut kshehi reka mitochen. This is crazy. He said, don't seduce yourself. Don't be seduced to use the word achdus when you don't really know what that means. What achdus is, when you think achdus, I mean, this is hard to swallow. He says, you think achdus means that Reformer, conservative, and Orthodox Jews stop hating each other for a day? That's achdus. He says we use that word achdus, but it's reik mitochen. It's empty. What he's describing here would be the greatest form of achdus in the world. And now he gets to, many of us that grew up on very powerful, Bnei Akiva ideology. So he's going to address this very, very important concept, like we spoke about in the beginning about tzionut. Et התנועה הציונית, שהייתה חלק הכרחי בתהליך הגאולה של עם ישראל והעולם, the Zionist movement, which was a must, it was a necessity, a component in the process of redemption of Am Yisrael and the world, hovilu me'atim, only very few people led it. Jews, religious and non-religious, v'gam goyim, and also non-Jewish people. בתחילה, אחוז קטן מעם ישראל הצטרף ונרתם למשימה. In the beginning, only a very small contingency of Am Yisrael joined this mission. רבים, טובים ורעים בעם ובעולם התנגדו, כל אחד מסיבותיו. But many people, good people and bad people in the Am, in our nation, and in the world, were against it. כל אחד מסיבותיו. Each person had their own reason. חלקם היו מקובעים בתפיסתם את המציאות. Some people, again, were stuck and chained and shackled to their השקפה and how they read reality. ואחרים דווקא כי הבינו שזה מסכן את ההגמונה שלהם. And others realized how much they were against it, but it's because they realized that it really does threaten my comfort zone. It threatened what I know. Like, I don't know what the world will look like if I now actually, open my heart to change. I don't know what it's going to be like. לאחר שהמיעוט מסר את נפשו, and this is like, the tzaddikim of 1948, the tzaddikim of 1967, the tzaddikim that came here from Auschwitz to fight. He says, after the mi'ut masar et nafsho, after that small contingency went through total mesirut nefesh, higiu rabim, many people then started joining, coming to Eretz Yisrael. והברכה האלוהית הולכת ומתרבה, and this godly blessing has just become more and more great and big in the world, and now we are millions of Jews living in Eretz Yisrael. לצערנו, however, unfortunately, כפי שכתב הרב טייכטל בספרו אם הבנים שמחה, just like we had the privilege, our show we learned, I think it was 2 years ago, for the whole Pesach to Sukkot Zman, Shabbos afternoon, we learned a sefer that is a must. Every person in the world has to learn this sefer. Im Abanim Smecha of Rav Teichtel. But just like he wrote in Im Abanim Smecha, Mi shenishar mekuba vekavur shilem mechir kaved. Whoever is simply stuck to how life was yesterday, after today presented a whole new world, a new reality, paid a very, very heavy price. בימינו דרושה מגפת הקורונה כדי לנער את העולם מנגעים רעים. In our days, the magefa of corona seems to be needed in order to shake up the world from bad afflictions in general. בימינו דרושה מגפת הקורונה כדי לנער את עם ישראל מהנוחות של בית הכנסת. This is why this letter is touching my heart so much. He's saying this, in our days, The corona, what is one of its key roles? It's shaking us up from our comfort when it comes to shul. Mina kotel maravi, I have the kotel. I can go and daven lechadodi Friday night. I can go and put a petek in the wall. It's to shake us up from that comfort zone, ela mesima ba'a, to the next mission, hagdola harbe yoter. He's not saying, I don't think he's saying, or at least the way I'm understanding it is like, look, after the 6 million went through ovens, the shlav we needed then, obviously was Mashiach, but how could you expect someone whose parents, he saw his parents be put into a gas chamber to start davening for Mashiach? Let me just be alive. Let me go to my home. Let me have a home. So he's saying Zionism played its role perfectly, more or less, for the last, 60 years now, 70 years? Already for a while now, we see it's not really doing its thing, but it had its place. It did its place. Baruch Hashem, like I was once at one of the meetings for World Mizrahi rabbis, and the whole discussion was, why has the Mizrahi movement at large lost its oomph? So they came to the conclusion that its success was really its failure. Why? Because its success was that it brought to Eretz Yisrael all these amazingly big-hearted, strong, powerful-minded teachers and Yidden, but now it's a failure because all these huge people got the message. They came here, but now what? So what's left with the movement's message? And it's under the leadership of Rav Doron Perez, a dear friend of mine. It's now been reinventing itself in a very beautiful way. They're doing tremendous things. They're also understanding that without the Baal Shem Tov, you really don't have a chance. But that's another story. We'll always go back to that. But now he ends off over here and he says, Hayom, La'achar shekama medinat Yisrael ze tafkida. But today, we have a state. We're back in our country. Now it's the job of us as a people that live here to realize we're ready for the next level. Zo mesima shetzrochim lehovil ota rosh hamamshala v'sarav. It's a task that the prime minister and the ministers must lead. Hem hashlichim להתחיל את הבנייה. They are the emissaries to begin this building. הלקח ההיסטורי הוא שמספיק מיעוט בעם ובעולם כדי להתחיל בבניית בית המקדש. He's saying, from a historical perspective, it's enough for a minority amongst the nation and in the world to begin the building of the Beis HaMikdash. יהיו מכשולים וקשיים וכאבים. There'll be all these different stumbling blocks and difficult, painful moments on the way. אבל, ברגע שנתחיל, but the moment we begin, הברכה והשמחה וההתלהבות וההתרגשות יאחדו בסוף את כולם. At the end, the blessing, the happiness, the enthusiasm, the emotional place we'll all be in will eventually bring the whole world together. Obviously, one of the more common fears and worries people have when they hear something like this is that, oh, you're going to tick off the world, you're going to make the whole world hate you, and that's really why Satmar's whole philosophy of the Shalosh Shvuot that's brought down in Shiur Shirim is saying to us, listen, we don't lo la'alot b'choma, you don't tick the nations of the world off. That's not how you build the Beis HaMikdash. But we see over here today, if it became clear to the world that what we're doing now is making everyone feel that they're all benefiting from it, the situation would change. But as long as we worship Avodah Zarah today, and that is the Avodah Zarah of being politically correct, then this whole corona, this whole shakeup will end us up back in shuls the way they were. We'll come back to shul where we'll blow some dust off the stender. We'll be happy to get our svarim back in place, and that's it. And I have to admit to you, and so many of my dear chevra from our shul is online with us right now, and they're davening. I want you guys to all know, Until the corona, I was going to the Arlat almost every single day. It's right down the block from where I live. And I was going there and I was davening and I was envisioning. I was putting tefillahs there. I take my daughters there. Anytime a guest would come, we'd go there, throw some tefillahs into the open area. I haven't gone in 3 weeks. Not because of, it's still within the 100 meters of my house. Not because they say it's asur. I hope you understand why I haven't been able to go the last few weeks. Having Mesiras Nefesh may mean to redefine my dreams, to let go of the holiest dreams I ever had. Not little dreams. The biggest dreams I had. This is the kind of moment in a shiur where you pray that the words that aren't spoken are being heard. And you also ask mechila from anyone that you caused a little bit of discomfort, because it's not the point. One of our dearest friends from our Kehila, Hershey Spaeth, wrote an unbelievable piece that we published on our webpage a few days ago, talking about being real with our children when it comes to what we're going through and what we're looking forward to. And it resonated with me so deeply, because one of the most difficult parenting moments I've ever had is when I had to give my children some garbage answer as to what's up there on top of the kotel when they went to the kotel for the first time. It was a disgusting moment. And I swore I would never do it again. I barely take them to the kotel. We're Kohanim. Our Indian's different. My children will go to the Beis HaMikdash. My father, my parents, my father will serve in the Beis HaMikdash. And like my Rabbi of Weinberger always says, he says, it cannot be that Mashiach is not going to come while there's still survivors in the world. It just can't be. He lost his father a few weeks ago. And it seems many of us chevra were shocked. Why were we so shocked? His father was in his 90s. It's a very long life. He didn't suffer that tremendously. It wasn't this crazy. What was it? It's that those of us that have been with Rabbi for a while, we really, really believed that his Abba, the tzaddik, Rav Weinberger Sr., was not going to take off before Mashiach has come. Many people in the Lubavitch movement are burying day after day, hour after hour, people like Reb Label Groner, Zichron Livracha, who have been on the front lines of Umitzapim Yeshua. So the reason why I said in the beginning of this learning that this is not something that can be dictated to anybody is because this is the kind of thing that needs to come. This choosing to live like this choosing of hashkafa, it has to come from total bechira. No one can force upon you such a mindset. No one can force upon you such a mindset. This must come from the most natural, sincere place inside. So the next question is, okay, Shlomo, but I don't have that. I don't have that. That's not, I can't be fake. I can't ask for something that I don't really want just because it's the right thing to ask for. Well, first of all, you've been doing that for many, many years if you've been davening. But you can ask Hashem to, like Rabbi Nachman says, to be Me'orer the Ratzon. You can ask Hashem. I was learning, the source of Chaim Kramer will end with this. I was learning over Pesach a story, Yantav Rishon on Shabbos Chol HaMoed. I was learning about this big tzaddik in Breslov from the previous generation. His name was Rabbi Zion Apter. Huge gadol. Huge gadol. Someone once overheard him in his bodidus, and he cried, like as if someone was torturing him. He sat and he started screaming and crying. He said, Ribono Shel Olam, please, can you finally make me want you like never before? Can you please enable me to want you like I've never wanted you before? Master of the universe, I will sing a song to you. Where will I find you? Oh, but where do I not find you? Where I go, there you are. Where I stay, there you are too. Only you alone, you again. Only you, only you, only you, only you. Only you alone, you again. Only you, only you, only you, only you. Master of the universe, I will sing a song to you. Where will I find you? Oh, but where do I not find you? Where I go, there you are. Where I stay, there you are too. Please sing with me, everyone. Only you alone, you again. Only you, only you, only you, only you. Only you alone, you again. Only you, only you, only you, only you. Only you alone, you again. Only you, only you, only you, only you. Only you alone, you again. Only you, only you, only you, only you. Only you alone, you again. Only you, only you, only you, only you. Only you alone, you again. Only you, only you, only you, only you. I want to share with you that recently I started singing this song with a different kavanah towards the second part of it. It used to, the first song was always about man, woman speaking to Hashem. But when you really sing it chazak the first time around, you hear Hashem singing the second part, looking right back at you and saying to you, only you, you alone, you again, only you, only you, only you, only you, only you, you alone, you again, only you, only you, only you, only you, only you, you alone, you again, only you, only you, only you, only you. So everyone should have the most meaningful, the most real experience of Shvi'i Shel Pesach. To jump, Chaim David has a great song called Jump into the Sea of Torah. Jump into the sea of Emunah. Jump into the sea of Mesirat Nefesh. Jump into the sea. Jump into the sea of the day after tomorrow. Jump into the sea, into the waters that bring out the best of all of us. And just like we learned in the beginning, until we jumped into the waters, we didn't think about Beis HaMikdash. So whatever it means for you to have Mesiras Nefesh, whatever that means, a few more hours till Shvi'i Shel Pesach to daven over the revelation of what that should be. But then when you get it, to jump in with utmost love, utmost awe. How do you know if you jumped into the sea of Mesiras Nefesh? Do you feel closer? Do you feel closer to yourself? Do you feel closer to your family? Do you feel closer to Am Yisrael? Do you feel closer to God's dreams for the world? Chavra, I bless you all to sing only you and to hear back a reply of only you. Bezrat Hashem, we're going to be getting together to sing our way into Shvi'i Shel Pesach, 5:45 on Zoom. We'll also be broadcasting it on Facebook. And Biachad, Bezrat Hashem, we're going to taste a Yantiv like we've never tasted before in our lives. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, Shimon, behind the wheel, once again. Love you all so much. Miss you. But we're getting there.